Masech Avoda zara, Daf Yud Amud Aleph. We're starting from the last line of Tesam at Beis. Who started Avakas Bay? There was this star in which it was written the date, which was a later date. Shis Yishnin Yisersa. 6 months later, Lamashal, let's say it was 500 years from Malchus Yavam. That was the real date of the Halva, but in the star was written 506. He wrote 6 years later. So somebody the Talmud Chacham before Rabbi thought to say, "Hi star miyuchu." The star is a shtamuch in which you cannot collect if he sold to lekuches, if he sold to buyers, even though there's a shibut from the star, but the date of the star is 6 years later, so he cannot collect from those lekuches because the date of the star shows 6 years later. The only time that he could actually collect from the lekuches is from 6 years later. 6 years later, that's written on the star, and if he sells any fields from then he can go collect from the lekuches. Prior to that, he can't, because then it's called a shtar mukdim. Amalahu Rav Nachman said back to them, the star is not a shtar meochel. This star was the sefer was a daiken. And these 6 years that we didn't count because the Yevanim didn't rule over the whole world, so we didn't count those 6 years. We only counted from the years 6 years later from when they conquered the whole world. And we don't count those 6 years. He does count those 6 years from when the Malchus Yavam had started. Even though they didn't conquer at that time, 6 years early, those 6 years, they haven't ruled over the whole world. And it was really written in its man, and he was calculating from 6 years before, from when the Yevanim started. 6 years, the Yevanim ruled only in the city of Elam. Only afterwards did they rule over the whole world. How do we know we're counting specifically from when the Melucha of Yav started? Perhaps we're counting from Yitzis Mitzrayim, and that's where we're counting the years from. And he's living out the first 1,000 years. And he's counting the last 1,000 years, meaning that 1380 is when 1,380 years is from the year when the Churban started, meaning you're counting 380 years, and for when the Melucha of Yavam. No, he says like this: we count from the date, exactly from the date that the Yidden went out of Mitzrayim, and if you count from the date that the Yidden went out of Mitzrayim, it's going to add up to 1,000 years plus 380. Lamashal, you'll start from right after Yitzis Mitzrayim to 480 years till the till Shlomo HaMelech built Bayis Yishan. Bayis Yishan was another 410 years, so that's 890. Golus Babel was 70, so that's 960. And then you had the Bayis Sheni. Then in the Bayis Sheni, 380 years. That's when Melucha of Yavam. So it started, but it's really 1380 accounting. 1380 accounting from Yitzis Mitzrayim, and you have to include those 6 years, of course, that the Yevonim had taken over Elam, and we're not counting from Malchus Yavam, and really it's the exact date. We're not the Alpha Basa. He's counting, and he counts 380. He's leaving out the 1,000, but it means we're counting. If you count with the 1,000 years, you're counting from when the Yidden came out of Mitzrayim. And since we're counting, it's the right amount of years. So, and he wrote 6 years later, so it's a shtar melucha. Rav Nachman said, no, in Golus we don't count. We're only counting from when the Yevanim had ruled. So if you want to Yaakov Saba holds that the Taina is a true Taina. We count from the Malchus Yavam. And I'm sorry, who Saba Dachli? He thought that Rav Yaakov thought that Rav Nachman said we're counting Malchus Yavam because he said Rav Nachman said Stabazay just to push it off. Nafak Dag Ashkach. He went out and he went to see if Rav Nachman was right. And he saw that, he did find a Braisa, the Tanya went to the Braisa, and said they don't pay the Klamid, that in Golos they take on account from the Meluch of the Yevonim. Ravina said, Masnis Nami Deika. Our Mishnah is also exact. It's not that we learned in the Mishnah. Rosh Hashanah Lamlochin. In Echad Nisan is the Rosh Hashanah for kings. The marshal, if Chav Tes Adar, the king became king, and then comes Chodesh Nisan, that's already the second year. Well, Regalim, and also for the Yom Tovim, from when you count the 3 Yom Tovim, so you count from after Nisan, Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkos. Well, the marshal for Hashavas Avoda. V'amrina Lamlachim, Lamayelsa, and the Gemara said Lamlachim for what purpose? That when they write in the star, to know which year it is, they go according to the Chodesh Nisan, from when the Melucha started, and that's how you count the years. Utnam, we also learned from the Mishnah, that Echad Tisha is Hashanah for the years and Shemitah. That's when we count the years of Shemitah. So the Gemara is, so for what purpose do we have to know that Echad Tisha is Hashanah? Rav Chisda, Bishtaris, Pashim, and to write and document the years in the start, which date the right date is. You just said that the studies by Malachim, you wrote into the studies, says Chodesh Nisan, and now you wrote the Rosh Hashanah L'Shanim is B'Echad Tishrei is for the studies, and that's Tishrei. Well, the first one that we count for Chodesh Nisan is L'Malchi Yisrael, is for Jewish kings, so we count the Chodesh Nisan. This that we count in Tishrei, L'Malchi Yisrael, is for the Goyish Malachim. Sagt die Gemara, L'Malchi Evnei Cham Tish Maninan. For Malchi Evnei Cham we count from Tishrei, L'Malchi Yisrael Nisan Maninan. Malchi Yisrael we count from Nisan. Manan Hash Tish Maninan. Ravina says today everybody counts from Tishrei. That's how we date and document the years written in the Shtar. And if it's going to enter your mind that we're counting the years from Eretz Mitzrayim, from when the Yidden left Mitzrayim, Minisim Beinan Lemimnei, then we should have counted the new year from Nisan. Because Masechet Rosh Hashanah it says that the Minyan Hashem the Yitzis Mitzrayim starts with Nisan. Allah Shmamidon, he's arrived from here, that we count according to from when the Yevanim started to rule. Shmamidon, Zakutarayah. Said in the Mishnah, Yom Gidus Shamachayim. My Yom Gidus Shamachayim. What does it mean, Yom Gidus Shamachayim? I'm Rabbi Avoda. Yom Shamachayim. Kechamis Malkum. It's a day that they established by the Goyim, the Melech. Thank you. Tanya, how can you say that's what Yom Gidus is? We learned a separate quote. It says Yom Gidus, and separately we learned the Yom Shamachayim by Malkum. And the day when they established the king, obviously Yom Gidus is a different date. A different pirush. So you want to like kasha. There's no question. Here we're talking about the Melech himself. And here we're talking about when we establish the son as a king. While the chayav of the father, while he's a king. In fact, you want to mean do we then appoint a Melech ben Melech? But Tani Rabbi Yisrael learned in this brayse. It says in the pasuk by Raimi, Chazayin Avoda Koyama Hashem Elokim. In the vision of Avad, it says, so says Hashem, Elikim Tadin, Hine Katan Satich Bagayim, Vazi Atmeid. Behold, I have made you inferior among the nations. Shehedim Hashim Melech B'Melech. The meaning, the inferiority is that they do not appoint a son of a king as king. Vazi Atmeid. The pasuk continues, you are very despised. She'ein lahem loiksav alei lashon. They, meaning the Doimim, are described that because they don't have their own writings or language. They get it from all other nations. The language of the Romans was borrowed from another nation, and foreigners wrote all their texts, the rules, and everything. So seeing that the Genusia cannot refer to the son, Elamai Yom Genusia, what's the Yom Genusia? The king's birthday. So when you learn to Meraisa, Yom Genusia, Yom HaLeda, you learn Yom HaLeda, the day of the birthday, separately. After you want to lay kasha, there's no question. How did the Yom Genusia is referring to the emperor's birthday? How did they? But the other term is referring to the son's birthday. In fact, what about Tanya? We learned in the Brayso Yom Genus Shaloi, Yom Genus Shalbenai. It says Yom Genus by side the father and the son, and then it says Yom Aleida Shaloi, Yom Aleida Shalbenai. And it says for the birthday of son separately. So clearly the Genusya day is not the emperor's birthday or the king's birthday. Only what does Yom Genusya mean? Yom Shemamidim by Malka. The day that they inaugurated the king as a king. The Kasha, and it's not a Kasha. How did they? Here it's talking about the emperor himself, and here it's talking about his son. That we don't appoint a king, the son of a king, but through the request of the king, they do. Going like the story of Asveris Bar Antoninus the Melech, like it was in the case of Asveris, the son of Antoninus. That he asked that his son should be here. It says the story. Antoninus LeRabbi. Antoninus said to Rabbi, I want that my son Asveris should rule in my place. This is Tveria Kolonia. And he should, in Tveria, they should declare that no taxes for anybody because he loved the Talmidei Chacham. Most of the Talmidei Chacham, a lot of Talmidei Chacham lived in Tveria, including Rabbi, who was his best friend. But if I request one, they'll do. But two requests, they won't grant me. I see Gabra. So Rabbi brought a man, and he put him on the shoulder of the first man. He put the dove in the hand of the upper one, and he said to the lower one, he tell the upper one to let the dove fly from his hands. So immediately Antoninus understood. He learned from this. This is what Rabbi is telling me. You asked for the request that your son should rule after me, after him, after Antoninus. And tell Asveris he should declare that Tveria shouldn't be chayven mechas in the taxes. Rebbe said, Antoninus said to Rebbe, that the dignitaries of Rome are torturing me or persecuting me. Each day he would bring Antoninus into a garden. And each day he would pluck a radish from the row in front of Antoninus. Antoninus said to himself, this is what he's telling me. That kill them off, but one at a time. But do not kill them all in one shot. Because of course he's going to attract attention and there'll be a big problem. So let him tell him openly. The dignitaries of Rome will overhear me, and especially if he tells them to kill the dignitaries, sure, they'll come and persecute Rabbi. Let him tell him quietly, a secret. Rabbi avoided even that because it's written, a bird of the sky will carry the sound, and a winged creature, that's the end of the pasuk, will betray this matter. So therefore you can never be sure that a private conversation will remain secret. Antoninus had a daughter, Gira. She committed adultery. Antoninus sent Rabbi a vegetable, here he calls a rocket herb. Like Kuzbarta. And Rabbi sent him back. Kuzbarta means Kois is Melashon Shchita. As Bite Barta meaning Barta means the daughter. He should kill his daughter. Like Karse. So Antoninus sent him Karse, say that the daughter, if she dies, this was before Asveris was born. So if she dies, he won't have any descendants. So he sent them letters to signify that he should have mercy on her. Every day Antoninus would send Rabbi crushed gold in a leather bag, in a leather sack, and he would put meat at its opening to hide the contents. He would tell the shliach, bring the wheat to Rabbi. Rabbi said, I don't need it. Isli too, I have plenty. Aman, Tanina said, Lahavim Laman, Levasa, let it keep this money for your children, because in the future, when he's not here, the Yavi Labasei will have to give those who come to them for taxes. So the Asbasach, because of those who will come after you, your children, or the Asbenayu, and those who will come from them, meaning your grandchildren, Nepgalayu, will need to pay my ancestors with it. Antonina's had a certain cave, and that cave went directly from his house to the house of Rabbi. Every day he bring two messengers with him. One he would kill at the door of Rabbi, and then when he would return, he would kill the other one at the entrance of his own house. Antoninus told me, when I come to your house, I don't want to find anybody with you. One time, he found Rabbi Chanina was sitting there. Antoninus said to Rabbi, have I not told you when I come to you that there shouldn't be anybody found with you? So Rabbi responded, less than ba'inish. There is not a mortal over here. He's a malach. Amalei Antonina say, yeah, he's a malach. Let him go outside. There's a guy sleeping, meaning he killed that person, and wake him up and tell him to come in. Rabbi Chanina went. So he's dead. He said, hey, Chavim, what should I do? If I return and say he's dead, one who is sent out for a mission should not report with bad news, should come back with saying bad news. But if I leave him over there, go and I run off on my way, I'm insulting the king. He davened for him, and he revived him in a shad, and he sent him to Antoninus. Antoninus said, I know even the smallest one between your students could be Mechai Besim, could revive the dead. Come up. But nevertheless, when I come to your house, I don't want to see anybody with you. Every day he would serve Rabbi. And he would serve him food and he served him a drink. When Rabbi wanted to go onto his bed to have a gachim kamei purya, he would bend down before the bed. And he'd say to Rabbi, climb up on me to go to your bed. He's protesting. He said, it's not proper for me to treat the throne, the melech, in such a disrespectful way. He said, if only I would be the mat beneath you in the in the world to come. Antoninus asked Rabbi, will I come to the Olam Haba? In yes. Antoninus said, it says, and there will be no remnant of the house of Esau. So he answered the Esau. Only Rabbi told him only somebody who acts in the way of Esau. Tanya Nami Hachbi also learned Rabbi similarly, but it says, Esau, and there will be no remnants in the house of Esau. I would have thought this applies to all Edomites. Live base Esau. It comes to tell us, the Torah states, to the house of Esau, meaning one who does the and behaves in the manner of Esau. So there in Gehenna is Edom, her kings, and all her presidents. Apparently, all the leaders of Edom are going to Gehenna. He had said to him, it says her kings, not all the kings. It says all the presidents, but not all her ministers. So a president, is a ruler of Rome, who is not the king, but serves at the behest of the Senate. Sar, as a minister, is a royal advisor, like a senator. Sagt die Gemara, Tanya Rabbi Yachvi Nabraisa, similarly, Melachava, like Melachah. It says, and all the kings, but I'm sorry, the pasuk says they're kings, but it doesn't say all are kings. It says all are presidents, but it doesn't say all are ministers. It says Melacha, not all the Melachim, to exclude Antoninus ben Asverus. All the presidents and not all the ministers. Prat Likti Bashalom, who was a minister. Kti Bashalom Mayhavi. What was the story with Kti Bashalom? Now there was a Caesar that hated the Yidden. So he said to the dignitaries of the kingdom, if that flesh develops on someone's foot, should he cut it off and be healed? Or should he leave it and suffer? And he was referring to the Yidden. Amrulays, they responded, cut it off and live. Number one, you will not be able to overcome them all because they are scattered throughout the world. Like it says in the pasuk, for like the four directions of heaven, Hashem had scattered them. If you say that Hashem scattered the Yidden in the four directions, this with the kaf, like the four directions. Why does it say like? It should have said in the four directions. What's like? It's just like the world cannot be without winds. So too, it's impossible for the world to exist without the B'nai Yisrael. Even more so, you would be called the king of a severed kingdom or a genocidal kingdom, because part of its population you exterminated or eliminated. He said, well, but Miu calls the Zachim Malka. However, the law is whoever prevails over the kindness of the king, he's thrown into the round chamber where it's full of earth, and he dies over there. As the Caesar's men were talking, or were taking him and throwing him into that room. There was this certain lady, matron, called out to Ketia, woe is to the ship that goes without paying taxes, meaning you went and you protected the Yidden and you're not gaining anything. Enough validation, the Urla say, Ketia fell on top of his foreskin, and there's one sheet that says he bit it off. Cut it off. He said, I already paid my taxes. I shall leave this world and pass into the world to come. As they were throwing me into the chamber, he said that all my possessions should go to Rabbi Akiva and his Talmidim. Rabbi Akiva went out and he dashed that it says that he shall be negated lechem aponim. It shall be to Aaron and his sons. So by mentioning Aaron separately and his sons, Mechzel Aaron and Mechzel Avanu, half went to Aaron, half went to his children. So here as well, since Ketia singled out Rabbi Akiva by name, and then he said Vachavedav, so he presumably meant that half should go to Rabbi Akiva and the rest should go to his colleagues. Yatz Baskel Baskel went out and said, Ketia Shalom Mezum L'chayim Haba. Kedia Shalom is ready for the world to come, to be zeich to go into Elam Haba. Rabbi was crying and he said, there's one who could acquire Elam Haba in 1 moment, 1 hour. And then there is another who acquires the portion of Elam Haba after many years. Antonina Shamshel Rabbi, Antonina served Rabbi Adak, and Shamshel Adak, and served Rav. Antoninus, when Antoninus passed away, Rabbi said, Nispar the Chavila, the bundle is unraveled. meaning the love that bound our souls together can no longer thrive. And the same thing was with Adarkan. Kishach with Adarkan, Amarav. Rav also said the same thing, this part of Chavila, meaning the bundle is unraveled.